Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. My first video back since holiday break. I was gone and could not film or write, which is unusual, but, you know, having a kid changes travel. You have to do a lot more things. Anyway, I am back and finally catching up on the Destiny 2 weekly update stuff. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that and about the Legends Catalyst run of Starcrossed to get that thing. Yeah, so this was kind of a weird week because there was a big story spoiler that Bungie sort of inserted into the mission itself, which I don't really know how this happened, like some sort of miscommunication between like script writers and mission implementers. I don't know. I guess this is a spoiler, but like it's in the game. At the end of the mission this week, you get Osiris saying, "Oh, I have an idea." After Riven says only one person can go through the portal. The idea is that someone goes through and opens it up for everybody else. A lot of convoluted things about ley lines and the veil, and like I believe in like kind of sci-fi made up nonsense, but like we're getting a little extreme here with we're gonna wish that the ley lines would open the portal and the veil will transport us there. It's a lot of kind of nonsense in a way that is pushing it a little bit even for Destiny. I don't know. I mean, like I get it, but the whole like portal into the Traveler is impassable thing just feels a little bit like stalling, which is stalling for this entire year. So I don't really love that as a development. This is the whole like we could have just stitched the opening of Lightfall and the end of Lightfall together and not missed anything. That would be kind of similar to what if we could just follow him through the portal? But no, we needed some. They're time gating. They're time gating the Traveler. Anyway, the thing that was a spoiler was not in the dialogue, but in the text summarizing the dialogue. We have Osiris saying that we can follow Crow through the portal. They said nothing about Crow being the one to go through the portal. That was never actually talked about. But next week, it seems we will be sending Crow through the portal. I don't know if there's a cutscene or something, but this is the last egg that we collect, and then I assume we will send Crow through the portal. Why Crow? I have no idea. That seems insane. He's essentially a New Light Guardian. I don't know if this has something to do with Crow's connection to Mara, because they're siblings and she has control of the ley lines. I don't know. Like, obviously, it seems like it would be the better idea if they sent us, the Guardian who's killed a bazillion gods and a bunch of other things. If we could send a one-man army through there, seems like it should be that. Also, we're going to be killing 90% of things inside the Traveler ourselves, and a fire team of us will be killing the Witness, no doubt. So that was kind of a bummer to spoil the finale of what is essentially the last real season of Destiny before they switch to episodes. I don't know. It feels like so much is falling through the cracks right now. As part of the seasonal mission, we had to run the coil again, and this week the modifier is togetherness. And once again, anyone who's playing the game at all would notice that togetherness is bugged. Togetherness is when you need to stay by your teammates in order to have accelerated recovery, and if you do not stay by them, you have terrible recovery. I think it's like pretending you have 10 recovery or something like that. The problem is not only is this a terrible modifier in the first place that is deeply unfun because you don't have control of where your teammates are if you're randomly matchmaking, and these arenas require you to move, and you cannot always stay by your teammates for some sort of strategy, requiring you to stock up on tons of heals, like healing grenades and rifts and whatever. But even if it did work as intended, it still makes no sense for solo players, because if you go into this solo, you will just permanently have the recovery debuff that essentially eliminates recovery entirely, which is insane. And secondly, the other bug that's happening is even if you go back by your teammates, you will not get the accelerated recovery until you take damage. So you must take some amount of damage in order to trigger the fast recovery. And of course, if you are racing to get by your teammates at low health to try and get recovery back, chances are a higher level enemy will kill you instead of damaging you just enough to spark recovery. So This is terrible. It's a terrible modifier in the first place. I get if the bug is sort of complicated to fix, because we never know exactly how complicated bugs are. But in that case, just replace the modifier with literally anything else. No one has liked this modifier from the start. It's kind of the new match game. It should be deleted entirely. Another aspect of this week that just sort of caught me off guard is like step 2 or 3 or something is do an Ascendant challenge, which we're doing the grand tour of all the old Dreaming City crap. We started with the Blind Well, and then we did one of the weekly curse missions, and now we are doing an Ascendant challenge, which Lord knows most of us have not done in 5 or 6 years or so. This is the thing where you must take a tincture, I don't know how to pronounce this thing, which allows you to see Ascendant portals on the map. At least this time they point out where the portal is, and then you launch yourself into that. Again, I haven't done one of these. I think there's 8. There's a lot of these. And they're sort of like mini-game little challenges. This one in particular is you have to find a bunch of arc balls in a Ascendant Realm map, and you have to go and dunk them while being chased by giant knights, and then you have to kill the giant knights. It's not particularly hard. It's just sort of strange that we are doing an Ascendant challenge after 5 years. It contributes to this narrative that we're sort of just being resold Forsaken content as part of the seasonal quest, which we also paid for, obviously. It's not like the biggest deal in the world. It just feels sort of lame. I get that you can't just have every step be do the coil or do Riven's Lair, although that is always essentially one of the steps in a given week. But instead of like making a new mission or something, they are just doing sort of the greatest hits of the Dreaming City. I still don't know at the end of this if we're actually going to stop the Dreaming City curse. It doesn't seem like we will, but who knows. And then you talk to like 6 different people, and we get the spoiler for Crow going through the portal. And that's that. So not amazing. And then we move on to the new activity this week, which is trying to get the first catalyst for the Wishkeeper bow. This is requiring you to do a legend run of the Starcrossed mission. And also, as I learned when I loaded it up, you have to do like a little mini puzzle where you have to like go to a secret location. This one is like kind of high up in the initial intro zone. And you have to like, I don't know what you do with the constellation. There's something with the constellation, and then you collect the thing, and then you have to beat the mission on Legendary. And I didn't know this, so I didn't know where anything was. Thankfully, one of my teammates actually knew where this was and did the little constellation thing. Do you shoot it with the bow? Is that what you're supposed to be doing? I missed what he actually did. But I got up there right before I was warped to my teammates and collected the thing. I think I would have had to restart the whole thing if I did not collect that thing. And then you just beat it on Legendary. This is the first time I've run it on Legendary. I didn't really see Legend. I guess that's different than Legendary. I did not really see a reason to run it last week, as I knew this was coming. And I don't know. It was fine. It's, I definitely died a few times. There were, a half dozen times. I'm not going to count all the times where we failed Warlock. There's 3 Warlocks. We all failed jumping a bazillion times in that one jumping part with the little things that slide out. Otherwise, I just went Polaris Lance, Fire Warlock with Dawn Chorus. That is sort of the easy mode for harder content right now, where with all the artifact mods, you can stun champions, you can apply tons of Scorch and Ignitions, and it's just kind of crazy. Some of these places are a little more close countered, so it was a little harder. The only really hard things is you essentially will get one shot by a Wyvern at this point with their Void Blast. Those are already crazy, but with the higher level, with the Void Surge modifier, you're getting it wrecked, so that happened at least a couple of times. Again, highly recommend just running this with a fire team. You can do it solo, obviously. I did my first run of normal on solo. It just is it's so exhausting, and it takes so long to kill these stupid taken phalanxes because they have so much freaking health. And then, again, I think it sort of gets easier as time goes on. The encounters themselves are really not that bad. The first one is just these chonky guys, and there's very little reason you should die unless you're being caught off guard by a Cyclops blast or something. The second one's a little harder because of the one-shot wyverns, and how you're in a little bit of a clock with the poison air buff thing that lets you survive there. But it's not too bad. And then there's another unlock all the doors thing with the more chonky phalanxes, except some of them are inside poison rooms. Yeah, you can, if you're not careful, you'll get a lot of damage, but I think I just supered 2 out of 3 of them. The boss, there is a way to cheese this boss, which is jumping up on the little ledge, and then you can shoot through the ledge, and I failed to make this jump as a warlock a bunch of times, so I just got sick of it. And I ran inside and hid behind my little wall, and did not do great in this section. I think I might not show this because I was being pretty useless. I was like sort of ad clearing, but my teammates were doing the real damage here. And I don't know. I could have done a lot better there. But in the end, we beat it. I got the catalyst. I think this is the one that makes the trap you shoot longer. The only one I really care about is Hatchling. That's the only one I really want because I'm using this on my Warlock build, which is all about hatchlings and suspending things and whatever. I don't even know if I really like this bow. It's okay. I guess I need to do more upgrades than the base level here. I find myself... This always happened with the stasis bow too, where the hipfire... Like, I would always find myself accidentally doing the hipfire thing, because like I release the aiming button on my mouse like a little too fast, and then it just shoots the entire hipfire thing, which that's not really my favorite mechanic for bows. Besides that, so we have 1 week left in the seasonal story stuff, and then 3 weeks left in the Legends completions of this for the Catalyst. We are not getting the, what is it, the something light things, the additional stuff they're making until, what is it, like February or something? So that's a little ways off. The Dawning is over as of this week, so yeah, we are definitely heading into some dead time here. It is time to catch up on your backlog. I will be playing Suicide Squad Kill Justice League in a month, so that's when that comes out. Lord knows how that's going to go. I've heard from the alpha it's good. It looks terrible to me, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And that's kind of the next big thing I'm going to care about here. Yeah, I'll keep playing and doing stuff and whatever. I just don't really know past next week, past the Legends Catalyst stuff, what really there is to do outside your normal dungeon raids, playlists, whatever. Which is fine. I mean, I think 24/7 content creation is part of the problem here. Maybe I'll touch briefly here on the weird thing that I wrote about today about how Bungie was one of Steam's platinum revenue earners this time, and that is in a year where they had a 45% revenue miss, which is very weird and implies to me that the corporate executive estimations of the revenue they would make were really high and really off based on the collapse that happened after Lightfall. But the point is like, even after revenue supposedly collapsed after Lightfall, it was still enough revenue, and Lightfall still had enough sales to propel it into Steam's like top 12 highest revenue grossing games of this year. So Destiny's in a really weird position where it is expected to make too much money compared to what it is making, and yet it is still making a lot of money compared to almost every other game in the industry. And we don't really know what profit loss is doing. We know about Bungie's extremely high burn rate, where it takes a ton of money to make this content, to pay all its employees, and that probably led to the layoffs because they have too many people and the game costs too much to make. And there we go. It's a strange situation. It does seem like they're going to have to scale back on content somewhat. The new episodes strike me as something that, while each individual episode may have more total content per season, including more cutscenes and things, it is probably going to be less content overall because it's 3 things instead of 4, and you do not have to make an entirely new activity for a 4th season or activity or 2, because that's what we've been seeing is usually the kind of 1 or 2 activities per season other than this one. And that's I think it's going to be less content overall, but that might be what is literally necessary for the game right now. And then after that, we will see if we get any more expansions. I fully believe that we will. That is the camp I'm in, but they have not announced anything, obviously. I do think that's just because they want to plug the hell out of the final shape right now, and I don't think they want to distract people with a new story expansion, with a new saga, new information and stuff. I think they just want people to buy final shape. Anyway, that is it for now. I don't know. We'll see if there's anything more to talk about this week about Destiny, or I might shift to other games and things, but we will see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.